Sarah, lovely to see you again. Now you head up the business readiness unit in Defra, right, on primary processing?
That's right, so I'm heading up a unit that's thinking about how we support the primary production sectors, get ready for the new sanitary and phytosanitary SPS agreement that we are currently negotiating with the European Union.
And this is part of the kind of EU reset, then the summit has been postponed, hasn't it?
Yeah. So we're in this process of resetting our relationship with Europe, and as part of that looking to agree a new SPS deal. Those negotiations were due to conclude and there was going to be a UK-EU summit on the 22nd of July. That's now been pushed back while we wait for the new Prime Minister to arrive.
Right. So part of, I think, what your team is doing is also helping farmers ensure that they're ready for what might be coming down the line. How does Defra judge how ready farmers and businesses are for this new dawn?
Yeah. Well, at the moment, while we're waiting for the negotiations, there's a lot of information that we can't yet provide to farmers.
Sure.
So we're at the stage now of trying to raise that awareness that the SPS deal is coming. And unlike sort of other trade deals, because we're dynamically aligning with the EU, that means we're adopting some of the rules the EU uses. And so we need to make sure all farmers recognise that the SPS deal will mean that they need to make alterations to their business practices and be ready for what those rule changes are going to mean. I mean, at this stage, we've got a long way to go, I think, to sort of raise that awareness. We're at the start of this process.
And my understanding is that it's different if you're a poultry farmer or arable or you grow brassicas, you will be affected. So putting your head in the sand is not an option, right?
No, no, absolutely not. So some of the aspects of the SPS agreement will be around livestock tracing and disease. There will also be changes around plant protection products, which will obviously have big implications for both arable and for horticulture. But also if you import and export, obviously we're looking, there will be some big opportunities there because we'll be removing that friction at the border. That's what the SPS agreement is there to do. So you'll no longer need export health certificates and all of those kind of things that have really added time and cost and uncertainty with our trade between GB and Europe, and will also remove some of the barriers between GB and Northern Ireland movements as well.
Okay. And in your experience, where do you think there's often a gap in farmers' sort of knowledge of policy changes and things? Because nobody can know everything, right? So where are you expecting there to be some gaps that you might need to work particularly hard to tackle?
Yes, so I think because of its wide-ranging nature, the SPS agreement will touch on lots of different areas. I think the approach we're trying to take here is that as we know information, we are sharing it. So it is at this stage incomplete, and we're not able to give the kind of clarity and comprehensiveness for businesses to make changes at this stage. But what we want to do is so it doesn't come as a surprise later down the track. So we're concentrating now on raising the awareness. We've set out at the end of May a kind of an overview of where we expect the changes to come.
Right.
Once we have the outcome of the agreement and we're moving into the next phase, that's where we'll be able to say in more detail what that's going to mean for businesses and how those changes are going to be brought in, and most importantly, when they will be brought in.
Sure. So in terms of what farmers can be doing now, given we're in this sort of slight hiatus, I guess keeping up to speed with the newsletters and information that Defra's putting out. We'll put a link in the comments and the QR code as to how people can get involved. So is it just kind of keeping their eyes and ears open?
I think so, yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of things. So please, everybody should have a look at the QR code, and that takes you to the information we put out at the end of May, and that will obviously be updated as new information is available. There are various Defra newsletters and things, so encourage people to sign up to that, use the farming blog, but also be in touch with your trade bodies, with those kind of organisations where you get your information from. We are working very closely with those organisations to make sure they have that and they're able to disseminate it. So please, and just where you see SPS, it is relevant to you.
Yes,
Don't
lean
ignore
in,
it.
lean in.
Yes.
Got it. So, I mean, last week was a pretty busy week for Defra. So you launched the 25-year farming roadmap. You did the response to the Minette Batter's farming profitability review. There was a big chunk of money announced, the farming innovation programme. Had the window one opening for SFI. So not only has Defra been very busy, but there's quite a lot of information there for farmers to take on board.
Yeah.
And how long do you see a sort of delay for things to start sort of permeating down into the industry, or do you think that farmers kind of, and the wider industry, adapts and adopts quite quickly when you've put communications out?
I mean, I think there's a mixture, isn't there? There are those that are really the sort of early adopters who are there, who are ready for these, and then there will be some who will take longer. I think there's been a big the farming roadmap is really important because that sets out the overall strategy and brings together all of those different things and makes sense of them for farmers. But it's going to be an ongoing process as we move over, as we start to sort of implement the roadmap. And we'll be doing lots of different activities, coming to Groundswell like this, going to other agricultural shows, where we'll really want to talk to as many farmers as possible and get that message out there.
And also you focus mainly on the primary production, but you've got colleagues elsewhere in Defra that are helping the wider supply chain, haven't you?
Absolutely. So coming back to SPS, we've got sort of sister teams who are thinking about the processing, retailing, manufacturing, and the sort of logistics, import and export sectors. So we have the whole lot covered, the whole chain covered. But my focus is on the primary production.
Brilliant. Sarah, thank you so much. I think very clear messages there that anyone impacted by this, that is likely to be most people involved in primary production, eyes, ears and minds open. Keep an eye on the QR codes.
Yes.
Keep talking to people who you get your information from. You will be the first to push it out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you very much, Melinda.
Thank you, Sarah. Good to talk to you.